The powered and heated tow mirrors here for the 2014 through 2018 Silverado or Sierra would be a must-have addition for all owners who do a good amount of towing and just want to make general navigation a much easier task. Now the mirrors will feature power folding and adjustment along with built-in heating and the smoke turn signals, all for right around that low to mid $600 price point. So when looking to add an aftermarket towing mirror setup like this to your rig, you will encounter a few different options here on the site, and always it just typically boils down to what your budget is like. Now, if you only tow once in a blue moon, but still want to get a better look of your entire rig and trailer setup, well then going with something like a slip-on or something maybe a little bit more affordable might just be the better or more budget-friendly way to go. On the other hand, if you're towing often, weekly, monthly, whatever, it just makes sense to replace those stock mirrors with something better suited for towing, such as the premium options that we're talking about here today. But let's break these things down a little bit more, guys, and on the surface there is a lot to like about this particular set of mirrors. First and foremost, they do telescope or extend, meaning when you're not towing you can slide them in like they are now, but when it's time to haul or tow, just simply yank them out. There you go, and you are gonna go full on tow rig. Now, as far as exact dimensions are concerned, well, you're looking at 22 inches here fully extended, and then 19 inches give or take with the mirrors fully retracted. Now, on top of the telescoping feature, the mirrors are power operated in a few different ways. For starters, they do offer the power folding operation if your factory mirrors were equipped with this feature. Now, along with that, they do also offer power adjustability or adjustment, and also have the built-in heating element to help with defrosting the mirrors on those colder days. Now, the cherry on top, in my opinion, will be the included smoked LED turn signals on both of the mirrors, which will shine nice and bright thanks to those modern LEDs. Now, I do really want to just hammer home the fact, guys, that the power operation, the heated functionality, the signals, and the additional lighting will only function if your truck does come equipped with those options from the factory. If not, well then you can't just plug these things and expect them to work. You will need to get custom with the wiring. But if your truck did come equipped with something similar to all of the options I just mentioned, well then you can expect a pretty simple plug and play job, and that one that will retain a lot of that functionality. Now, these particular options, as you can see, are finished off in a factory-like black textured plastic. But if you're wanted or if you're interested, you can also find something similar on the site with chrome skull caps instead. And those might be a good option for 1,500 owners who are looking to keep things consistent with their chrome packaged trucks. But again, I'm coming back to it, guys. Make no mistake about it. These are absolutely a premium tow mirror option here on the site. And that is certainly reflected by the higher price point. And that's just because they are loaded with so many features. Now, if you wanted, again, you can certainly save a little money, or in some cases, a lot of money, and just forego some of the bells and whistles, forego the LED turn signals and the power folding option. Just get something that's strictly manual with the telescoping feature for roughly half or a third of the cost here on the site. But I always encourage you, check out the full selection at AT before ultimately pulling the trigger. But what do you say we get into the install of the tow mirrors? And again, one thing I do want to point out, guys, you are looking at a predominantly plug and play job here. However, that factory door panel will need to be removed in order to access the mounting location, along with the wiring we mentioned earlier. Because of this, just make sure to have a panel removal tool or screwdriver on hand, along with a basic socket set to help you swap mirrors, and you should be good to go. But to give you a better idea of what's involved here, here's an AT customer to walk you through it now.
So again, we've got our picks. The easiest way to do that is open up the handle so you can get behind it. And this panel comes right off. Okay, so it took me a couple tries again, but I was able to pick this by putting my pick in here and pulling this direction and up at the same time. And the final piece to remove is this panel right here. Going to lift up and pull out. Be careful if you leave any of these clips. Okay, now we are ready to remove our 7mm bolts. Those are the two that were previously shown down in here. Using our 7mm ratchet set. bolts will come right out. There's one more up here. There are two more down below that need to be removed. They are here and here. Then one final 7mm screw, which is way back in here. You can see it straight back there. Oh. For this step, you're going to want to use your pry tool and start at the bottom so that you don't damage the retention plates. Is make sure you don't pull this out while the door lock is up. I'm going to be careful to pull it out. Just like that. First thing you're going to do is remove this door retention clip while holding on to the door. You're going to squeeze the top of this tab, slide it slightly forward. Make sure it clears that gap, pull it back, then out. And that is your door retention clip. Now what we have to do is remove the cable. In order to do that, you're going to push down on this red button here, pull up on the gray, push down on the black before. What we're going to do here is we're going to push down on the red, adjust that, push down on the black, and then pull the gray cord back. This will make sure you're able to loosen your all your cables that are assembled here. Then you are able to remove it, and your door panel is completely off. Now we're going to remove this plastic piece here. In order to do that, we're going to use our pry tool. And this is just to get behind here, because you can see these screws here is what we're going to use to disconnect the old mirror. What we're going to do next is disconnect the wiring. So in order to do that, there's a little tab on the side, push down and pull, and now your mirror is disconnected. So now we're going to use our 10mm to take these bolts off. Be very careful to make sure you hold the mirror as you undo the final one so that the mirror doesn't just fall. Next, you're going to remove the stock mirror. You'll do that by pulling it straight out. So now this next step will be drilling a hole. Depending on your year, make, and model, you may need to drill a hole in the door. For that, we use our drill and a 3/8 bit. And now, as you can see, we have a fourth hole, which allows us to mount the mirror. This is the driver's side mirror, so what you are going to do is put all of the cables through first. Make sure your grommet stays on this side. And then properly align it with the holes. I'm going to hand tighten this first to secure it. And for this step, 4 bolts are supplied, but I'm going to use these stock bolts. And I'm just hand tightening to make sure this is secured first. The hole that I drilled is actually too big for the provided bolts. So what I'm going to do is put a washer there with the provided bolts. And now that they are installed, now that it is hand tightened, we can use our 10mm to tighten them all down. Okay, now that everything is tightened down, we are ready to move on to the wiring. Okay, so the wire bundle comes like this. What I'm going to do is remove this part here and plug it right into the other connector. Now you're going to take this connector and plug it directly into here. Now when we install the door, we're going to, of course, reattach this. We'll see that next. And now we are going to reinstall the door. The first step is this connector right here. Other side, make sure you're holding it. This clip in. All the way in. Gray latch goes up. Make sure it's locked in. The next thing we'll do is the door retention, which remember we took off before. We're going to put the ball in the hole. Slide it back. So that it's engaged there. Now we have this. Door lock, make sure that's in place. Push all the way around. The same retention clips that we loosened up before, we're now putting back into place. Now we'll reinstall our 7mm bolts. Is up here. Your second 2 are down here from where we removed them earlier. Two more at the bottom of the door. One here. And now your final one is way back in here. It is a tricky one to get. This is not required, but what I did was I dip the tip in grease to make sure it stays on to the bolt or to the socket. And then we send that one straight back. Now we'll take our panel and reseat it. Again, you've got your retention clips on the back. You want to be careful not to break these top pieces. Slip them in. Push. 4 clips. Now you can replace the panels that we picked to get to the 7 millimeters. This one, you want to make sure this bottom tab is lined up correctly and you're not putting it in upside down. Now your mirror is installed. This portion is not required if you want the basic functionality of only the power folding. However, if you want cargo reverse lights or turn signals to work, you will need to do this step. In order to do that, we're going to use the provided adapter, which will be the short version is that it will be plugged into here. We will route it through here, in here, and it will be plugged into here. For this portion, you will have to separate this. You'll have to separate this part from here, and I will walk through that portion next. But if you have it set up in basic configuration, you can simply plug it from here into here. But what I'm going to do is route the wires from here into the proper pins in order to have cargo light functionality. Now there are a few options. You can buy the pin connectors separately, or you can remove the old ones and wire them to the new wire. So what I'm going to do is remove this by pushing on the tab and pulling out. Now there is a lock on here. This holds all of the pins in. So I'm going to use my pick. And it will snap when it's unlocked. And I will be using the pins for that were supplied. So these 3 pins, what I'm going to do is remove them from this wire. And then when I install this wire, the big bundle, I'm going to have these on the end of it in order to properly pin it. You also want to make sure that you push this pin connector back in order to lock it in. I used a needle nose just to basically pull them off of the provided wires. Now I'm not going to attach them yet to the new wires because I'm not sure the length that we will need. So I'm going to take this and plug it directly into the old one, making sure the pins line up. So you could see there are 3, if you look in there, there are 3 pins and they are top left, top right, and bottom right. So I need to make sure they line up with these pins, which are mirror image. Now these wires we're going to route through this grommet here. In order to do that, you can see this grommet was not properly seated in the first place. Use a razor and cut a small hole in the grommet so that these wires can fit and be routed through there. You can plug your mirrors back We're going to take this wire, route it through here. Again, we're going to cut a small hole in the grommet. And this is to ensure a good seal is maintained, but at the same time, you don't want to crush the wires that we're routing back through there. You actually only have to route your blue and white wires. Your black one needs to be grounded. And what I'm going to do is ground it to one of the lower wires. But first, we will route it through here. Your blue and white wires will be routed through here, and they will come out the side here, where we will pin them and put them into their proper connectors. Now, once this part is exposed, this is where we're going to end up putting our wires. This, again, I just pulled this part out from here. And these blue wires that we routed, you're going to have to snake them through here and then get them to come out here. If you can actually route them first through here, and then there's a grommet here that you can remove. And then I am going to push the wires through as far as I can with my finger in through this side and try and pull them through. Again, you only need the blue wires and the white wires. Now that your pins have connections on the end, following the diagram, so your white wire, your backup light, will be going into hole 9, and your blue wire turn signal will be going into hole 41. And what that does is when your cargo lights turn on, your little white light on the side mirror comes on, and when your turn signal comes on, the front turn signal illuminates. So all of the, in here, all of these are labeled, and it says right next to the pin what number it is. So for example, you'll see right here pins 40 and 41. Now, as you're sliding the pins in, there is, you will have to push this out using a screwdriver, this little purple piece, to unlock. Otherwise, you will have a hard time getting the blue pin in. So we'll unlock it from the back, we'll push the blue pin into 41 and the white pin into 9, and then we will lock it back. Make sure when you're putting these wires in that this piece, this longer part right here, is facing the GM logo up front. So for example, this pin will be going in like this. And your blue pin again will be in spot 41. Blue pin is now in 41, and we will be taking the white pin and putting it in position 9, which again, they're labeled numerically. Okay, now that gasket has been replaced, and what I like to do at this point is do a function check to make sure the lights are operating properly. So if I engage my cargo lamp, this light comes on here. And if I engage my turn signal, that light should engage. You'll also have to run a ground. So what I did was I cut the black cord short. Going to strip it enough to make a loop. I'm going to loosen this bolt down here. Make a loop for a ground. and then tighten that bolt down. Okay, now that wiring is complete, I do a function check. And what I found during my function check was that since I didn't do the ground before doing the check, it didn't work, but this is a left turn signal. Good, matches the turn signal. And then cargo lamps are engaged. Cargo lamp is on. And again, the turn signal is still on, so we still have turn signal function. At this point, the wiring is complete, and we will put the side of the door back on. Again, the same way that was in the instructions as previous. This is just the intermediate wiring that would happen if you want cargo lamps and turn signal functions.
So if you are the type of Silverado or Sierra owner who tows all the time and are looking for a premium set of tow mirrors to give you a better look of your trailer setup, well then be sure to check out these powered options right here at AmericanTrucks.com.